Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we tried out an experimental scenario. Had a very nice idea to it, but not something I think I can really do justice. So, I decided to give it a leave. This episode, we're moving on to another one. Hopefully it's a bit more standard. I believe BJ Earls is the name of the person who did this scenario. It says it's for level 13 to whatever, but we're going to go in at level 15 because that's the party I have. Although it says 15 here. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Stop a feud between dangerous wizards. Sorcerers and their works are something like natural forces. Everyone just has to get used to having them around, and sometimes finds ways to make use of them, but they can also turn dangerous. For a few months you have heard rumor that two of the sorcerers in Fjord Province have been quarreling, and the repercussions have made winter last well through what should have been spring. Well, it sounds like this year. Normally, like any sensible people, you avoid such things as much as you can. However, you've heard from an old acquaintance of yours, Thord Brynjolfsson, that there's a job in that area you should take. So you now find yourself in Tunsberg with instructions to meet with Earl Hrold and learn about this job. You stay overnight at the inn, and after having breakfast, you get ready to get started. Okay. Let's take a look at what gear I have. Okay, potions, a couple random crystals. Alright, we're good. Well, let's look around in here. Talk to the innkeeper, I guess. The innkeeper is doing some cooking and cleaning early in the day while there aren't many customers around. He looks up as soon as you approach, though. Where can we find Earl Hrold? He'll most likely be in his office in the northwest corner of town. Have there been many people through town lately? The innkeeper frowns and says, No, not many. People are scared off by, the thing with the weather. Listen, we've been dealing with that for months. It only started getting warm like last week, and it's May. We know what the weather is like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be due to wizards. You can say a wizard did it all you want, but... excuse me. Alright, first things first, look around the outside, as I do. Okay, not gonna go around that way on that. You shouldn't leave town, you haven't yet spoken with the Earl. Well, no, I'm not trying to leave town. Hold on, this is open. This is a smithy. The smithy is loud and brightly lit. From the amount of work going on, there must be a good deal of business. The blacksmith stops sorting finished items and giving instructions to his workers when he sees you walk up. Now, what can I help you with today? What do you have for sale? Various gear. No need to buy it now. The blacksmith is fairly helpful showing you the items he has for sale, although the prices are on the high side. Anything interesting happened lately? Oh, you mean aside from winter going on forever? Not directly, although we're quite busy here filling orders for the army. They're quite busy up north, and they need a lot of equipment. That townsman doesn't respond. Oh wow, there's actually quite a few townsmen in here. Very busy. Yes, okay, I shouldn't leave until I've spoken with the Earl. I'm not trying to leave, I'm just exploring. Let me explore. No, I'm not trying to leave. Wow, that is extremely monotone. I mean, not monotone, but you know what I mean. There's just nothing to that. Is there some variety when we walked around in other towns and places? Because I feel like there had to have been. These bunkhouses are used by warriors serving the king. No one is around at the moment. Doesn't look like there's anything in the bunkhouses. Yeah, there must be some variety to the ground in most scenarios. Or something. Because, like I said, this is just so freaking monotone. I mean, you know what I mean. This building is the King's Feast Hall. With nothing going on, it's locked up at the moment. Okay, not going in there. Is there actually a way in? No, I don't think so. That door's not opening. That door's not opening. That door's not opening. Archive. You step into the archive building. The air is musty, and you get the impression that normally no one spends much time here. Oh, we'll investigate anyway. I doubt we'll find anything, though. Well, if nobody spends much time here, why is there someone in here? Excuse me. I was right, not much in here. The man sitting here is somewhat portly and doesn't look like any sort of warrior. He has a number of scrolls and parchments spread out on the table in front of him. At first he doesn't react to your greeting, and then, without looking up, he says, "Go away, I'm doing important work and I haven't time for the likes of you." Okay then, leaving you be. When you step in the door, the man at the desk, Rawld's secretary presumably, seems to recognize what you've come for, and indicates that you should see the Earl in the inner office to the north. First, I want to see what this is. General store, right? The shopkeeper at the general store is pacing and looking a bit bored. He does his best to look interested and businesslike when you approach his counter. "Good day, can I help you find anything?" "How's business?" "It, could be better. Nobody's quite sure what's going to happen with winter dragging on, so they aren't buying when they normally would." "May we see your wares?" "Beautiful skins. Energy potions. Yeah, grab them." Always good to have it. Nothing else we need, though. You finish shopping. Not able to go in there. Alright. He doesn't speak. In this room, several scribes are copying documents. They seem to be busy, and their work isn't particularly interesting to you anyway. Alright, let's speak with the guy. Rawld nods to you in greeting. "Yes, what can I help you with now?" "How is the province faring?" "As well as can be expected. With this weather, the growing season hasn't yet begun, and everyone worries about whether there will be food left come icefall. The king's armies are occupied up north with Harold the Shaggy and his attempts at conquest. This could be the start of very perilous times." "Is there any local news?" "Not much of note besides those infernal sorcerers. People are too worried to be doing very much." "I suppose there is that young fellow Olvir Nufa, who's been making a fool of himself, trying to convince Earl Attley's daughter to marry him. Nothing will come of it, though. The Earl disapproves of him." "What is the job you need done?" "As you know, the struggle between the two local sorcerers is proving ruinous for everyone else. We think there's a way that it can be brought to an end, however. King Albjorn has had dealings with Sorcerer Godric in the past. That one isn't a bad sort. Sorcerer Hring, on the other hand, is a friend to no one. At the moment, Godric's apprentice, his nephew Harrick, is in the city doing some research that he believes will make it possible to defeat Hring. In fact, I understand that he has finished his work and now needs to return to his master. Harrick tells me, though, that he is now afraid to return alone, as he thinks Hring knows what he's been doing. That's where you come in. I need someone to ensure that Harrick gets back in one piece and this mess is resolved. Not sure what this will entail, but Thord Brynjolfsson thinks you're up to it. Will you do it?" After you agree, Rawld nods with finality. "We need this ended soon, so best be on your way quickly. You'll find Harrick in the archive building." Alright, we'll go speak with him now. Sorry about the coughs. Harrick tries to dismiss you again, but you inform him that you're here to escort him back to Sorcerer Godric. This seems to get his attention. "Where is Sorcerer Godric's home?" "My master's tower is west of here. Of course west. Where else could it be? I've travelled there numerous times. I know the road perfectly, of course." "For how long have you worked with Godric?" "For more than 9 years now. Sorcerer Godric is my uncle, of course, so I've known him since childhood. After it became clear that I had proficiency with mystical methods, he took me as his apprentice." "We're ready to leave." Apprentice Harrick has now joined the party. During combat, Harrick will assist the party, but he will be considered a separate entity by the game. If he is injured, the normal healing spell cannot target him. Instead, use the Heal Harrick ability, which has been added to each party member. This ability works the same as a healing spell and uses a caster's skills and statistics. Shortcut keys UM. Very well then, so am I. Herrick gathers up his parchments into a bundle, which he puts carefully into his belt pouch. Then he stands up to follow you. Heal Herrick. Okay then. I'm gonna save before we go out. Alright, out we go. You prepare to head out for Sorcerer Godric's tower. Are you certain that you're ready? Yes, leave. It takes you a few days to walk from the capital to the foot of the mountain on which a sorcerer has his tower. Along the way, you are subjected to a virtually endless stream of chatter from Herrick. He reminds you often of the closeness of his association with his uncle, expounds on how each farmer ought to be operating each farm you pass, mentions how well thought of many of his relatives are, and directs how camp should be set up each evening. Now and then you try to ask him about the nature of the feud between his master and Sorcerer Haring, but he is either too emotionally involved to give an objective answer, or he just doesn't know very much given the lack of substance in his answers. Well, that's unfortunate. When you try to head back east, Herrick rolls his eyes and explains, in a supposedly patient tone of voice implying total impatience, that the trail up the mountain is to the west. The monotony of trudging down the road is disturbed by a group of creatures running toward you. They don't look friendly. Nothing with that many arms, all holding knives, does. Golems! Ow. That's actually a powerful golem there. Would be nice if he actually did something. Thank you! Well, that didn't actually help us out at all. Fire appears to be completely useless against these things. You want to do anything else for us? Help us out at all? Sure, another fireball. That's incredibly useful. What is this they're dropping? Golem arms and golem arm blades. Interesting. It's obvious to you that these weren't creatures in the normal sense at all, but machines. Golems specifically, sent by a magic user to kill you. This batch failed at least, but there will probably be more. Everything you've heard about sorcerers before indicates that they tend to go in for overkill. Hold on to these golem parts. As you come up to the crossroads, you meet a man walking the other way. He is fairly young, very fit, and distinctly handsome. He calls out to you, and you walk over to speak with him.
Good day, travelers. I'm Thorolf. I saw you fighting there, but I couldn't get there in time to aid you. Looked like some battle. What were those things?
After you explain the nature of your mission and what attacked you, he whistles.
That sounds like quite a story. If you're going up the mountain, you should stay the night at my father's farm first, though.
Night falls quickly in these parts.
And I doubt you would want to meet things like those in the dark. The farm is just down the road. I'll meet you there.
You glance at Herrick, and he nods, so you agree to stop by the farm. Alright, simple enough. Looks like that's the farm over there. Okay, we walked in. Since when you arrive at the farm, Thorolf does indeed meet you. Since it is already starting to grow late in the day, he takes you directly to the main hall for dinner. As new guests, you end up being seated at the front table. There you get to meet Thorolf's father, Ulf, or Kveldulf, as it seems he is nicknamed. While Thorolf is fair-haired and good-looking, his father is much darker, and his face is unlovely at best. He seems to have a quick temper, but luckily it doesn't end up being directed at you during the course of the meal. There's also Thorolf's younger brother, Grim. He's just as muscular as Thorolf, but looks much more like his father, except that despite being in his 20s or so, he has already lost much of his hair. Seems he is known as Scalagrim as a result. There are quite a number of other guests, mainly men who stayed at the farm over the last winter and haven't left yet due to the continued poor weather. As the evening wears on, Kveldulf becomes steadily more irritable, and finally announces that he is going off to bed, even though it isn't all that late. A short while later, Scalagrim also leaves. Since the food and conversation are good, you stay a while longer. You find that, curiously, no one seems to recognize Harrick, despite the length of time he has been living in this region. Doesn't seem to bother him, but it strikes you as strange. Also strange seeming is the fragment of conversation you overhear from another table, in which you catch the word shapeshifter. This, taken together with the fact that your host's nickname means evening wolf, is unsettling, but you hope you're just jumping to conclusions. Finally, it is getting rather late, and everyone seems to be growing tired, so Thorolf leads you to one of the bunkhouses and bids you good night. At first, you sleep fitfully. You hear odd noises outside that your heightened imagination attributes to any number of fearsome creatures. Eventually, though, the noises cease and you sleep soundly. When you wake up in the morning, you find Herrick already up, poring over his papers. Out of curiosity, and since it seems like a perfectly good time, you ask him what the information is that he is bringing back that will help his master defeat Ring. Herrick turns, looks at you for a second or two with a bemused expression, and then snaps, "It's a rather complicated matter of magic far beyond your understanding. I suggest you stick to what you know and leave my business to me." You're surprised by his reaction, but you decide not to press the matter. Herrick puts away his papers and you prepare to leave. Huh. That's interesting and possibly concerning. Outside, you meet Thorolf again. He asks you how you slept, and you simply tell him that you rested well. He gives you breakfast, and after you've thanked him for his hospitality and his father's, he leads to the edge of the farm again. Resting up was good, even if it came with some peculiar moments, but now you need to get on with your task. You don't have time to visit the farm again, you need to press on to Godric's Tower. Of course. I must say, this is a very directed scenario. I feel a bit like I'm on rails. Oh! This area looks like an ideal spot for an ambush. Unfortunately, from the scuffling noises you hear around you, it seems that someone else had just that idea. Leap Golem error, procedure call error in line 52. Alright, we gotta enter combat now. Probably should have saved. Okay, grab those, I guess. No, I don't want to jump off the ledge. Okay, more of those golems dealt with. There's a spot here where loose earth shows through the snow. Looks like something is shallowly buried here. Dig it up. Find a small bundle of objects wrapped in an old cloak. No, I don't want to jump off the ledge. So we've got piercing crystal, unshackling crystal, wand of Kyranos, and a cloak. Can't remember what the wand of Kyranos does. Might make things more difficult or something, if I remember right. Oh. You know me, I like uncovering everything. That's all I want to do here. Also, I'm grabbing all these golem parts because why not? Alright, made it through that ambush. Shouldn't have done that, didn't want to come down. As you climb higher up the mountain, the wind becomes bitterly cold. There must be some sort of long-term mental effect from advanced magic use that makes wizards and the like choose to live in the most bizarre, remote places they can find. Find yourself suddenly face to face, or at least face to front of head, with another gang of golems. That's bad. Also, why is there no audio? Good that you can use that as much as you want. Hold on. Okay, I don't know why there's suddenly no audio here. Once we finish this, I'm gonna have to reload. With Herrick dead, you immediately realize that you have a problem. You take his papers, but strangely, they are blank to your eyes. Nonetheless, you try to continue to Sorcerer Godric's tower. You follow Herrick's directions as best you can remember them, but you only find yourself high on the barren mountain with no tower in sight. In the end, you are forced to turn back, your mission a failure. Some months later, the struggle between sorcerers comes to an end, but you don't hear which of them won. In the process, though, the province is devastated by famine. No. Be right back. Okay, so I made it back to where I was, and I just saved and discovered that the reason the game didn't have any audio was because I accidentally leaned on the volume button on my headset and turned off the volume. Yeah, that's stupid on my part. Anyway, while I would continue onwards to this other ambush, I gotta end this episode here because we've gone on about long enough. It's a bit shorter, I guess, but this is a pause point we're gonna have to do with. Next episode, we'll move onwards to try and, well, deal with this issue with the sorcerers. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.